Hello, welcome back to Nosetools, where I've just realised that I haven't actually done the thing that I said I was going to do. That's better, right. So, yes, I've changed the resolution I'm streaming at this time, largely so that I can actually have other things on my screen at the same time. It has occasionally occurred to me when playing this that that it may not actually be very readable unless you have a reasonably large high-resolution screen. So I also feel it might be more helpful at this size. Not that this is helpful for anyone physically here, because they get to watch it through another copy of my display. So yes, this does mean I can now read IRC and people can tell me what's going on. Or tell me things in not quite real time. In theory, I could turn on chat on YouTube and watch that, but I'm not going to. Yes. I think anyone who looks to our thriving economy for prosperity is going to discover that instead what they can get from our thriving prosperity is zombie rhinoceroses.
That's not at all familiar. Not a metaphor for anything.
Thank you. Yes. Say squook, then count. Okay. Squook. 4,000. Yes. So that was about 4 seconds, I think. Yes, I was going to just check that we do indeed have quantities of zombie rhinoceroids. Yes, they have names now. If we could get the horns off the bloody zombies, that would be fine, yes. Unfortunately.
Rhinoceros corpses get names from? Did they have them already?
They didn't, but then they started killing things, and the dwarves named them. Because otherwise, how do you keep track of which of the zombie rhinoceroses has killed the most dwarves?
Sparkle craze? Oh, sorry, that's a My Little Pony.
Yes, okay, my little zombie rhinoceros, Sparkle Craze. I would have expected there to be a kill list here, but maybe I need to look somewhere else. Thank you. Okay, maybe I can't find that easily. Yes, so there is one called Sparkle Craze, one called Mild Rains, which seems like a slightly more sensible name.
Silly in a different way, I think the best one.
And one called Priest Wipe.
No, that's a terrible name. His parents should definitely.
Well, I don't think zombie rhinoceroses are named by their parents.
Well, whoever named them should, suffer the wrath of the zombie rhinoceros.
I think they might be named by delirium, in fact.
It is quite possible, yes. I think I'll increase the size of my main window a bit. Right, so yes, let us have a quick recap so that I can remember what's going on. Most of our military were killed by zombie rhinoceroses. Quite a few of our butchering staff were killed by a zombie draltha. We have now sealed off the butchery in order to avoid the zombie draltha killing anyone else. We don't have much by way of military, and even if we did, they probably wouldn't have many weapons. Meanwhile, somewhere in the fort, there is a vampire. There was a forgotten beast, but I forgot it, and then we killed it, and then it came back to life and killed several of us, and then we killed it again.
Was that full? Was there another one?
Yes, the flying snail. Well, the winged snail. I don't know that we ever saw it actually flying. So yes, the Thob was indeed a bit of. It was not much of a problem while it was alive. It was much more of a problem when it didn't have a brain anymore, because then you couldn't just kick it in the head until it died. So yes, I think that's all the things that are currently on fire. Thus, we have a moderately large number of somewhat injured dwarves. No one is seriously unhappy in that sort of a way. The stressed Mark's dwarf is still as stressed as ever. So, yes. So one thing we could do... So, yes, it is possible, apparently, to sometimes work out what's going on with your whether you've got a where your vampire is by paying close attention to their history and or thoughts. People who are former members of lots of places are suspicious. But, like, this may be a rather tedious thing to do. So, lots of people seem to be worshippers of far too many gods. And of course, our world only has 150 years of history, which is like not actually an insane age for a dwarf. So, merely finding dwarves who have a lot of history themselves is not itself suspicious. Sorry, I just had a thought, which is we could at least look at when people arrived in my fort, and
Searching for the vampire.
yeah, I was wondering we could see when when people first started dying to it. Happily, they're probably memorialised, but I can't remember who they were or where their memorials are. We have far too many memorials now because for some reason people keep dying. So there's one of them, the year 160. Another one in 160. I think the fortress has only been running since like 158, so... Wheel squeezed the declining.
Devoted father, admirer of donkeys.
Yes.
Devoted wife, lover of masons. I like her.
Right. So yes. So our vampire probably wasn't here. So what? How do I, there's a button somewhere to tell me what date it is. That'll do. 21st of Timber 160. Yes. So yes. So that means that yes, our vampire probably arrived this year. Does that help us at all, I wonder? On the grounds that no, I don't think anyone died to a vampire before this year. Possible Sigan Stakudam. So did anyone actually arrive in 160, or are we mostly looking at the 159 arrivals?
The picture was
So there's a 160 arrival. She has eaten in the dining room, which is fairly indicative of someone who isn't a vampire.
Are you trying to now do vampire epidemiology or something?
Yes. Slightly suspicious of... Which one was it? She slept, which is probably indicative of not being a vampire. This is the nice thing about having excellent bedrooms and dining rooms. People have such nice thoughts about them. Has slept lately. 160, lots of dining. $159. Eating. 159. Eating. Can you just put garlic in all the food? We don't have any garlic, sadly. I don't think so. But also we don't have any, so euphoric due to inebriation probably means not vampire.
I don't know. I have bloody Mary.
Thank you. Dining. Sleeping. Inebriation. Inebriation.
Dwarves always have an alphabet, don't
Yes.
they? Okay.
It's canonical. Essentially, dwarves are alcohol dependent. They don't work properly if you don't keep them adequately fed with alcohol.
Right. But also...
So one of the ways you can detect vampires is that they... She was relieved drinking another dwarf's blood. Yes, if we could find one of those, that would be brilliant. I'm kind of suspicious of this one. Once arrived in 20th of Sandstone 160. And doesn't have any history of eating, which might just mean she's so new that Let me just find the calendar. Yeah, she purports to be 27. But may not actually be. So but if she arrived in 160, she arrived in Sandstone, which is the 10th month of the year. So we've reached Ilral Thingamy. Fish cleaner. So who was our... I have to find which month of the year. Alright, that only says in 160. Doesn't sadly give me a month. I presume we only have... Yeah, we've only got logs from timber. So she did only arrive last month. Maybe she just hasn't actually needed to drink anything yet. Eat or drink anything yet. But slightly suspicious nonetheless. Sorry, as soon as I see someone mentioning blood, I get suspicious.
And then you discover it's just a butcher trying to make
Yes.
steak pudding. Back pudding, that's what I'm looking for.
I have this distinct suspicion of someone who says she was shocked at the unexpected death of somebody. She grieved at somebody's death.
You feel that...
And trade is the lifeblood of a thriving society. I mean, it's possible, of course, we have multiple vampires. But she's also one of our romantically involved with Moldath Fountain Circle. Quite a lot of relatives. Some of them we even know. A lover who isn't here. 5 dwarves somewhere else killed. Bring a text editor down so I can make notes. So we are suspicious of Rimtar Gulnakas and of Ilral Ustuth Mebzuth. No.
If they don't know how to charge it on film.
Right, where were we? We just checked her, yes.
Surely not cheap, but they're less
You might think that, but Ilraz Rimtar Ubulnakas is one of our suspicious types. He's my most suspicious one, to be honest. Put an asterisk next to her. She's dined. Grouchy at drinking the same old booze, which implies drinking it.
What performances?
Yes.
But liked most of them, so fair enough.
Yes.
I suppose you would just keep going.
Don't think there's any eating, sleeping, or drinking in that one.
Blissful dining in a...
Oh right, thank you. Okay,
Just after the performances.
which is kind of believable. Also as an elf, so yes, we do have an excess of bards. Inebriation. Another suspiciously short list. Another one of the Sandstone 160 arrivals, though. Surely we haven't lost two people since Sandstone 160.
This one's a worshipper of Togol, and 3 gods later, a dubious worshipper of Togol.
That's a bit dubious.
A confused worshipper of the wrong number of gods.
No, wrong button.
That one's got an inebriation at the top of the list.
Oh right, has it? Oh yes, you're quite right. So has just been here for a little while, rather than. For it due to inebriation. Sleeping. Inebriation. Dining. Overshot 1. Inebriation. Everything. Dining. Inebriation. Performance, fondness, watching, sleeping. You felt pleasure remembering a fine door.
Okay. I mean, dwarves are just showing that you can have very, very niche special interests.
Oh yes.
All the doors in this fortress have a cheerful and sunny disposition.
Yes, indeed. All right, this one is currently drinking, Claire points out. Yes, thank you. I mean, there is one thing we might want to check, which is what they're drinking. But
Yeah.
now, that actually involves dwarven wine. That's probably fine.
Well, it might be made out of snails.
No, the dwarven wine is... Oh, God. I think it's made out of mushrooms.
Always after sleeping in dirt.
Thank you. He's currently sleeping. Inebriation. Sleeping. Can't see any. Oh, drinking the same old booze. Sleeping. Remembering sleeping. Eating. Inebriation. We're getting close to the bottom of the list now, I think. Inebriation. Inebriation. And now we're down into children, which I don't think are our problem. Soapy baths. Excellent. Someone was having a soapy bath. She likes Children of the Night for the music they make. Thank you. It could be an elf, I think. I don't think elves are immune from vampirism. And we do have all these weird people around. Yes. How old are you? Could be complaining about drinking the same old booze. 1 year old. I don't think you've been alive long enough.
I think it's perfectly within character for small children to go, I'm bored after that.
Yes. I think receiving water is acceptable. Probably not like a 1 year old baby.
How long have you had a vampire?
About a year. But babies are not self-propelled in particular.
So it would be hard for them to actually see.
So I think you can only be a vampire once you're over about 2.
You have to assess a vampire.
Yeah,
People come up to you and go, oh, what a cute baby. Ah!
yes. Which tends to leave witnesses.
So babies aren't self-propelled?
Yes.
Okay, fine, good.
Oh right. One of my elf poets is not wearing enough clothes.
Also was repeatedly aroused after watching the performance. I don't know what this one's been going through. But he's been dying.
Yes.
So whatever his problem is, it's not.
Or has just been. I don't think that's what it means. I think it is indeed was not wearing enough clothes and not has been identified as a vampire. And also has been like sleeping and such. Drinking. Sleeping. Possibly we need more space to keep poets, since they appear to be complaining about not having any beds. Drinking. We need more variety in our booze here. Drinking. That one is already asleep. Sleeping. Drinking. Sorry, I read the word bitter, but then I realised that wasn't a drink in this case. And those 3 are asleep. Right, so I think we only have 2 who are yes. We have 2 who I think are suspicious, and I should just check that, just confirm that this one is a bit short of clothes. So he's wearing a dress, and I mean, she doesn't look terribly underdressed. Yeah, she's got a right shoe, but is missing a left shoe. That might be a problem. Well, yes, I don't think she's our problem though. I'm kind of suspicious of Rimtar and Ilral, so let's visit them briefly. Actually, maybe we should just call both of those in for questioning regarding one of our deaths. And there's our
There's no
cheesemaker.
awkward rules around here, like double checkers or anything like that.
I don't think so, no. Of course, they're both in the military. Couldn't be otherwise. Right, so let's just try that. Let's go justice. Oh, we have some information now. I'm sure I didn't have that information last time I looked here.
Ilwell found body. Morse's law.
Yes.
Well, there's this typical law of detective, at least detective adaptations on TV, which is if you have a famous person in your TV, your thing, that makes it past the first murder, they're probably the murderer. Because the other one is, you get a famous person in to do a cameo for first corpse. You know, so you do one scene of
I die tragically.
yes, or you know, to do the sort of first scene of King Lear. You know, I split my kingdom between you three, and then you try and work out which three or which one of the offspring or whatever has done the murder, etc.
Just wait till one of them tries to discredit another, and then it's
well,
one
yes.
or the other.
Well, this is traditional, but that's why corpses 2, 3, and 4. 2 and 3 come from. And then you solve it because you've run out of sensible people to murder. I use the word sensible very loosely here. I wish you'd managed to wait 5 minutes before coming downstairs.
That reminded me of that very terrible Christmassy Sherlock Holmes thing we saw some years ago, where there was no way they could work out how the person could be in 2 places at once. They were all a mystical thing, and then it's one of those places. That's totally unimaginative solution.
Yes, wouldn't it be better if they had a giant kaleidoscope? I think.
Yes. Or a time machine. School!
No, you can't interview a troglodyte.
Is it because they're dead, or just because they don't talk to you?
They're dead mostly. Certainly can't interview a pig. I mean, I want to try now. Sorry. Schedule an interview with the pig.
You wouldn't interview a pig.
I think you'd find we would.
Interview with the pig.
David would download a badger, so why shouldn't we interview a pig?
Right, I was going to quickly see... Have I made memorial slabs to everyone who needs one? Certainly got a shortage of... I haven't made memorial slabs to everyone, at least. Maybe I should just keep making memorial slabs just to be on the safe side.
I think that was expired.
I mean, Meng Thobarak was one of the original 7. So those are all blank slabs, so we can schedule 5.
How do you get vampirism?
Um,
You can catch it from another vampire. How did the first vampire get
you can be cursed with it by a god if you profane one of their temples, usually.
Horrible fortress? What? Just catching up with mostly David Witchering for the last 20 minutes.
Right. Let's just make some more memorials. I don't know how many of them we need, but yes, I'm sure you
still
are.
have not managed to ID the vampire, and you're assuming there's going to be more corpses.
Well, no, I can't quite remember who we need to. Whether we are in need of any. Whether any of these people we don't need to make things memorials for some reason.
You have to tell them what the pig says.
Yeah. Once we get the pig brought along for interviewing. We're currently interviewing someone more suspicious.
I can't see a bat. Bat. Was that a bat then?
I don't know.
Was that a bat, Claire? Bat?
No pertinent information was revealed by Ilral Thing, the fish cleaner. Still suspicious of him.
What, you wander around to people and go, oh, you're a vampire?
Something like that.
Do they say yes?
Not yet.
Okay. I mean, it's just that, it occurs to me that, that
Claire, you woke him up now.
could, cunning deflect suspicion by going, no, I'm not a vampire.
Well, the captain of the guard is currently doing something with the piglet.
It sounds very dodgy.
But doesn't actually seem to have interrogated one.
Writing isn't very difficult, not it?
No, the pig doesn't seem to have appeared as interrogated, so I think actually attempting to interrogate pigs doesn't work. Pequod Cave Mist, the sculpted brigand of evisceration, eh? We've got a title. We might want to talk to Dacost Weaverglaze. I wonder if that will help.
Oh, I missed something here. There's one murder you're investigating, and 4 different people found the body on different dates.
Yes. I suspect they... Is that Dacost Weaverglazed? Oh, sorry, I'm getting confused. Yes. Avril Ficod is Weaverglaze.
Okay, there were 4 different people.
They weren't all different people. I think this was different people wandering through the bedroom. Actually, that might be an interesting question. Where is Dacost Admiral Ficod's bedroom? This might require remembering where the body was found. I think it was somewhere to the east of this floor. There's a convenient... there are quite a lot of unoccupied rooms for some reason. Maybe because their previous occupants have died. Is there a way I can get from a person to their room? I can find out that they have a decent quarters, but that's not very helpful. I'd like to know which decent quarters. Oh well. Alright, that's one of our visitors who is busy getting killed. They're on the surface. So, like the thing is that our various visitors tend to get into fights with zombies on the surface, and frankly, we can't do much about that at the moment. We're too busy trying to deal with the stuff we've got inside the fortress.
It's a bit concerning when the group's lecture and looks up your solution page with group's example sheets.
Not necessarily true, but it knows.
Oh, you know, it's just
Probably supervised it more than they have.
It's the lecturing room, well, the girl knows first, but it's true.
This is Rachel who confused me when I went to my first overview conference in Durham in 1997. I was totally completely lost, not having a clue what anything he was talking about at all. It was all postdoctoral thing. I thought, ooh, seems like my age, how much you could talk to her, which she's also supposed to be a PhD. And then she gave the next talk, and she just finished her PhD in Rachel. Awesome things.
Oh, here's the thing I should do. Make sure I'm in a position to wall off that if I ever need to.
Rachel, my dream. That's nice.
Right. So
I had a dream last night.
interrogation seems to be singularly unhelpful.
So in my dream, I was on a train somewhere.
But
I left my bag, as you do. And,
continuingly suspicious
I talked to somebody at the station.
of Ilral Fenstor.
And they flew through. So, we'll get the line for the next station. You get next train station. Thank you. That's very nice of you. That's what it is. Thank you. Got on the train to the next station. It's all the underground. It's quite close together. And I got there and this person gave me my bag. And I took it. A test photographer took a photo of it. A sort of heartwarming story with the bag being returned. And I didn't want my photo of this heartwarming story, so I chased after this paparazzi person. And we got on trains and chased trains with the thing. And eventually, you know, I called in the thing, and he knocked on the track, then he collapsed. Well, okay. And I left. And I got on a train, it turned out it's an old horse-drawn carriage, but lots of us strung together with the train. Only it turned out that I got off on the wrong platform, and I'd got on at Finsbury. Well, I rented on at Finsbury Le Park. And as I got on to the wrong thing,
Oh no, she's felt euphoric due to inebriation. Hmm.
yes, it was Finsbury rather than Finsbury Le Park, which I thought was quite
Still mildly suspicious, but like only mildly suspicious at the moment. Well, let's allow things to happen and see what we can find out. Inebriated. Well, yes, I suppose possible that if you drink the blood of a dwarf who is full of alcohol, might possibly end up inebriated as a result of that. Like, I'm pretty sure that Dwarf Fortress does simulate things at that level because, like, you have bloodborne diseases and such like. So obviously, I mean, vampirism indeed is a bloodborne disease. So obviously, thus, that drinking the blood of someone who has been drinking alcohol is indeed a way of getting drunk yourself. Who was that who failed to find a way to get their kill back? Someone down in the... I should just check that we have... What's our current access to the caverns situation? No access to the surface from the caverns.
Durango prefers vaccination to masks.
But there is a path there. You're just being a stoat if you can't find it.
Durango particularly like some bookkeepers. It makes sense.
Right. So, yes. We should probably look at what our military situation is, because I think the answer is disastrous. Okay, I did do that. I did that last time, right.
Here's a cat at the right, but she said, "Ooh, and might go pass out in the light."
We've got a cook who's a legendary Marks dwarf whom we aren't actually using. Well, let's fix that. Our broker, similarly, is a legendary Marks dwarf. Let's do that as well. Yeah. Oh, yes. Well, probably. I suspect a kitten may have got lost in the unfortunate Drouther incident. I can't see any kittens in there. And one thing we could try. Oh yes, I had a kind of a plan for dealing with the vampires in the butchery. Now that I recall, and it was also a plan for avoiding these pigs being quite so inconvenient. Oops.
Thank you, eBay. It's cool weather. We recommend buying warm jumpers, fluffy shoes, radiators. Okay.
That's a more jam, perhaps.
Yeah.
So my idea here is to shift the pigs out of the way a bit.
Shuffle, shuffle.
Thank you. So that people don't keep having to walk through the pigsty to get places, because that is liable to be a way to screw up the routing algorithm.
And routing for truffles.
Thank you, Gareth. And then what we can do is to then, oh dear, sorry, the room full of undead is now full of miasma as well. Then we could fill the room that the pigs are currently in with traps, and then let the various zombies out into that room, in the hope that they will then all get caught by the traps and won't, e.g., avoid all of them and cause entertaining trouble. Which reminds me, I wanted to look something up about zombies while this is burbling. Because there was something about them remembering traps, but I don't know that... Enthralled dwarves are not affected by traps that were known to them in life. But that's fine. These are not enthralled, and plus I'm planning on making them new traps. So I don't think that will be a problem. Right. Well, we're in that state where the keyboard input briefly doesn't work. Right. Right, so... let us, as is traditional, install a door. There. And then mark this room as a pen or pasture. And then assign every animal that is currently assigned to the other pasture to this one instead, and go, we have too many pigs. Well, yes, animals have names when they're adopted by dwarves. So many pigs. We should slaughter some pigs. So yes, the rabbit has a name because it has an owner, I expect. So now there will be 15 zillion pen or pasture creature jobs. The entire population of the fort will come up here, each of them grab a pig and move it to the next room.
Playing 52 pig up.
Yes. Okay, that's marginally alarming. Okay, there's an undead Drouther down in the caverns now. Kind of inclined to leave it there. As long as it stays down there, that's fine. Right, so that's the that's that pen cleared. So we can remove. You can mark that as now not a pen, right. So now we're going to need to build a large quantity of mechanisms. There's our workshop for making mechanisms. It's there. And so we still kind of have access to the caverns, don't we? So we're not too. Wood is not a terrible problem. Just wondering if we make weapon traps or cage traps. Cage traps. Well, cage traps are fine if they work, which I think they would. Weapon traps would have the advantage that they'll just smash up the dwarves until they. The zombies until they stop moving. So, but the thing is, we would need some weapons for that, which would mean probably making lots and lots and lots of silver maces, which in turn will mean. Oops. So we've got some silver bars that we can turn into maces. Got quite a lot.
Clang, it was a silver bar.
Yes, quite a lot of silver bars actually. So let's somewhere up here where we have our wood furnace. Oh, I have a convenient spare room. I wonder what I intended to do with that room. Well. Furnaces. Oh no, okay, is it a workshop then? Metalsmith's forge. Let's install a forge here then. Running out of blocks again. Let's make some blocks. So if we set up a metalsmith's forge there, make a second actually no, let's just make ourselves lots of charcoal. Some of this will end up down next to the smelter, but that's fine. On the other hand, we do probably want a stockpile of metal bars up here. So let's have one stockpile for, well, actually just one stockpile for silver for now. So that we don't end up hauling all the lead up here, which is not of an awful lot of use.
Lead. Sorry, an elite Marks dwarf has met the Drouther corpse and looks like doing rather badly indeed. Looks to have been killed by it.
I think the elite Marks dwarf might have been good at range, but the Drouther ran up to it and hooked it.
Yes, plus something that can inflict piercing damage is not very useful against a creature that doesn't need its blood or its brain or any of its internal organs. So yeah, I'm kind of a bit worried about this Drouther corpse in the caverns now, and this dead elite Marks dwarf in the caverns. probably not actually able to come back to life, but okay, lots of people are being found dead. Oh right, has been found dead by someone else appearing on the map, yes. This is one of those weird things that we can find. Somewhat, this bard is trying to beat people up with musical instruments. Curiously, this is not going well for the bard. And has somehow managed to accurately extract teeth from the bard. Right, so yes, we might want. So yes, caverns. What is alive down here? Well, there's a kitten. That's nice. There's another kitten. The entire bloody caverns are full of kittens. We don't care about kittens. If kittens get killed and indeed zombified, that is, I think, just the way of the world. Live Drowthers are not a serious problem. Live arms are actually not much of a problem. Live miners are slightly more of a problem and should be, I think. So what's our... Yeah, so we have this Drouther corpse mucking around down there. Right. I think I should say we should clear out the caverns for now, given the presence of a zombie Drouther down there. So that's going to require... Well, let's just activate our... get everyone out of the caverns, even though that's or rather get everyone into residential bits of the fortress, even though that's a really rather arbitrary area. Maybe I should actually edit this to make it slightly more sensible.
This is the weekend of being able to get up a little later, but still true. I might try and get the exchange I wanted at some point before they forcibly do it in 2 weeks. Yes, good luck.
So that will... Just trying to mark this so that we don't drag everyone out of their bedrooms just because I've accidentally left their bedrooms out of the burrow. So that will kind of encourage people into most of the useful parts of the fortress where they already are. Yes, also let's permit them to be in both halves of the thing and the whole of this floor. Point of this is, after all, mostly to... Actually, we should erase, though, the river, for instance, because otherwise they might start leaping into the river. There we go. So now that should encourage people who are currently in the caverns to leave them. It should even encourage the kittens who are currently in the caverns to leave them. Human swordsman is probably actually here to kill monsters, and so, well, if you want to go down there and kill the monsters, that's fine by me. A dead person. Yes, the zombie Drouther is called Help Velvet, think we may actually be in a situation why is that floor completely empty? Where there isn't actually anyone in the caverns, which is kind of, I mean, in a sense of, I'm not sure I believe this. So that's a Drouther. Let's help Velvet the Drouther corpse. That's a kitten. That's a Drouther. That's a human swordsman whom I shall look up. Tether Tad Thadsti. That's the bottom of the cavern. Is Tether hiding then? Is a monster slayer, and so frankly gets to take their chances. So I think now I lock the cavern access hatch. And then say you can now go anywhere again if you can get there. Leave that unfortunate human down in the caverns, and well, no, I can't start the fans because we have no fans, but I can, and that does limit us to the wood we currently have in stock, but let's leave that until that still allows us to build a fair quantity of weaponry. So where are we? Right, we're now bringing some silver up from the silver mines. Don't know how much silver you need for a mace. More than that, apparently. Oh well. No. I mean, it's kind of boring when they turn out to have just gone missing, but yeah. So we've got a fair number of cages around. So I think I should start filling this room with traps. Until we run out of cages and mechanisms. I presume we're still making mechanisms as fast as we can. Yes, it looks like it. Oh, we've run out of slabs. Oops. Bards keep turning up. Really, this is not the place to come and be a bard. I mean, yes, you might learn some interesting stories, but you'll probably also die. Let's read some more of these slabs. The colour dark chestnut made her happy. She would have liked the gallery. Yes, we do have a sad number of people where we don't actually know what their fate was yet. Yes, maybe if someone can leave, they can tell the rest. Maybe. Slight problem, of course, is that people are going to go and use these maces as weapons. I wanted to put them in traps. That's fine. We need our dwarves to be well equipped, and giving them maces is probably going to help. We've got a reasonable wood stockpile still. I'm sure there is lots of lugging things around in unhelpful directions going on. That's just people shooting people in there, which is fine. That's someone loading a cage trap. One loaded cage trap. I shall build cage traps until we run out of cages, and hope that by then we've got some maces to build mace traps. And then the idea is we simply open the door and see what happens. And in the worst case, we have to wall off another room of the fortress. Well, it's a helicopter at least. I'm not sure I can tell which one from inside the house. I fear the human swordsman has been met an unfortunate incident with a Draltha. it's kind of strange that we don't know what fate has befallen the human swordsman, but because they've been missing for a week, we know they must be dead. Because that we merely hadn't seen them, that would be perfectly normal. Yes, there is a danger that we'll have gradually increasing rooms we can't use in the middle of the fortress because they're full of zombies. But I hope not. And maybe, but I mean, there is after all a perfectly effective way of dealing with zombies. You just have to flood the room with magma. Pretty confident that would deal with them. And then you need to work out how you get the magma back out again. And you need to get the magma into the room without harming any dwarves in the process. Which I think we could probably do, actually. What you'd do is you would hook up the door to a lever and then flood the next door room with magma and then open the door. Using the lever. I mean, assuming that the door didn't just melt. Yeah, so obviously what we should actually do is to arrange to have magma supplies available conveniently at every butchery. This does actually appear somewhere in the list of stupid dwarf tricks on... Curiously, magma is actually quite easy to get off things. So you don't have... I mean, it'll destroy lots of things, but it'll even evaporate. Or you can just pour water in, convert the entire lot into obsidian, and then mine it back out again. So that's all of our spare cages converted into cage traps. Have we got any spare weapons? Not really, no. I think we need more... more maces. Mine more maces. Someone is mining more maces. Excellent. I presume that was someone found dead on the surface because the next arrival has gone, oh, the place is full of dead poets. We should form a society. We've got some more slabs to install yet. We've got more slabs to engrave, even if we haven't got more slabs to install. There's a slab we can install there. I'm not going to engrave slabs to kittens, especially unnamed kittens. Why isn't there a door there? There should be a door here. General principle, there should always be a door. Actually, no, let's make it a better door than that. This is somewhere where we care about what there is. Let's make it a Ponzi decorated door. Yes, I'm sure the rainbow likes unnamed kittens. Right, so we're still. No, you're going to die. Stop visiting my fort. So yes, we're still trying to make maces, except that every time I make a mace, someone finds a use for it. There's a mace there briefly. Maybe someone won't take it away. Yeah, my job scheduler for the jeweller's workshop is still a bit dodgy, isn't it? Still getting a lot of things we can't do. We just have an insane quantity of white jade lying around. Certainly don't seem to be short of cut gems in there. Right. Yep, still making maces. Has anyone taken that last one away? All right. We might be reaching the point now where no one wants the silver maces we're making, so we can actually start putting them into a weapon trap or two. Yes, and then I have to decide a point at which we've actually got enough stuff in that room. I mean, there's not that many zombies in there. There's like a right hand, a Draltha. That may even be it. So we may only actually have one zombie Draltha and one zombie hand in there that need dealing with. That's nice. We're not planning to export anything anytime soon. Just check. We're perfectly well off for food and drink, aren't we? Yes. There is no food problem. There is no drink problem. There's a zombie problem. There's a vampire problem. So yes, the other thing, of course, that I want actually is to have something that will tempt people out of there. Can I build a restraint? Let's just build a restraint here. And then put a pig in it, because we don't have a shortage of pigs. And that should tempt the undead out to try to kill the pig. Which should help to cause them to pass through the traps. Otamlòr has been possessed. That pink flashing exclamation mark indicates someone is in a strange mood, and is in a different kind of strange mood from the usual ones, and has claimed a craftsdwarf's workshop. Right. Needs tree life. Well, if that's all you need, we have no shortage of wood. Well, I mean, we will soon when I've turned it all into charcoal to make maces. But for now, we have no shortage of wood. So if you're quick, please don't use all our wood. We do need it for other things. Right, you've taken our last bit of wood. Well, that'll be fun. Hope that's all the wood you need. Otherwise, I'm going to have to send someone down into the caverns to cut more. That looks good. Begun a mysterious construction made entirely out of wood. Right. Right, so the pig is now restrained in a suitable location. So if we were to try to make a weapon trap near the pig, what do we have to put into it now? We have 6 silver maces available, plus a bunch of other weaponry. Right, let's make our first weapon trap then. Maybe our last. Maybe we should make... Let's assume we're not going to get very many maces, so let's only put 5 weapons into this trap. And that way we can do another one. Say there. Did that work, or did I forget something? I forgot something, didn't I? Yes. Then I need to press something else to say done. Right. The idea here is to not put them where the pig can actually go, because that might be bad for the pig. Might be. Crossbow's probably not very helpful. Right, yes, we can't make any more charcoal because we've run out of wood. We could get some wood from down in the depths, but there's still a zombie drouther down there, so I prefer not to. So someone is now assembling a weapon trap there. Let's just keep making silver maces until we run out of one of the ingredients. Meanwhile, we've probably got more memorials to install, haven't we? may almost catch up. Okay. Oh yes, it is 4 minutes past midnight. Well, I think we should... Thank you, yes. I don't really care. Let's try to get to the point where we can actually release the zombies and see how badly that goes. Right, that's the first weapon trap armed. So now what's going to happen is they'll charge out Bitter Orangewood Mini Forge. We like mini forges here, apparently. Change the keys from when I first started playing this. It is a mini forge decorated with a picture of a different mini forge, also with a picture of a kangaroo. Sorry, of a kangaroo man. Right. Obviously, you decorate mini forges with pictures of other mini forges, because this is our second artifact toy in this fortress. So that's a dwarf constructing the second weapon trap. I think our I'm slightly worried. That's my unprepared food fortress thing. So yeah, I've still got lots of meat. I don't think there's a serious problem, right? Looks like we may be a bit short of people who can actually do things with metal. Indeed, yes, there doesn't seem to be anyone with metalworking as their primary ability. I don't think you should be meditating on torture. I think you should be becoming a metalworker.
There's not much to see. Rather, all right. We're out of charcoal. Okay, right. Let's actually remove that cage trap there because it's a bit random, and we can add that to the collection upstairs.
We'll build a third weapon trap that contains everything, all the other weapons we've built. Don't know quite where to put it. Let's put it there. Okay, it only gets 2 maces in it anyway. So let's also build an additional cage trap. And then we will see how badly wrong this goes. Where are you going with that food? Why have you put that food there? It's not a helpful place to leave that rotten cheese. That's a better place to put the rotten cheese, yes. So just wondering if I can find what happened to the cheese. Not easily. Right, so I think all those traps are ready now. So let's just check that door is sealed and remove that wall. Right, so if we now forbid that door and that door and that door, and then permit this door, then I think if we're really lucky our zombie Draltha will charge out of there and immediately end up caught in the trap. Let's see what happens. Oh, the zombies are moving in the right direction. Twang and twang again. Well, that was fairly effective. I mean, the traps I put in are clearly overkill, but we have a Draltha cage and a, well, kind of dwarf cage. So, success! Just no one... Yes, it's... The cage contains Shoras Thingy's right hand. And that cage contains a Draltha. Right. So I'll engage in a small amount more of tidying up, but I'll permit those doors and remove the walls that protect them. And mark a bunch of stuff for disposal. Is there anything that actually do we need to dump those? Yes, I think I ended up deciding that we shouldn't even try to bury people. I mean, we could. We've got 2 spare coffins and there are 2 dead dwarves there. Bet they won't be assigned to the right dwarves, though. Nope. Right, okay. In that case, any remaining corpses get dumped. Pretty though it is to keep people in coffins, I think I would prefer good nude stream. Right, so let us just check that both of the dwarf corpses have been hurled down the pit. I don't quite know what to do with those cages yet. I will come up with a plan later. Right, I think that was a successful zombie trapping, and we might want to think about what we can do with those zombies, and indeed what we can do with the other traps. Yes, we probably want to put them in the pit. I feel it would be unfortunate to throw the cages down there as well, because cages are fairly valuable. But I need to work out whether you can extract a hostile creature from a cage and hurl it into a pit without causing trouble, which may require a bit of reading and or experimentation. I suppose we could try with the arm first. That's probably not very harmful, is it? But not tonight. So yes, I think that will be all for tonight. We have success. We haven't dealt with the vampire, but no one's been killed recently. We have, on the other hand, dealt with one of our 5 or so internal zombie infestations and taken advantage of our pigs to do so. So that's probably good. Yes, we will indeed deal with the hand. Right. So I think that will be all for tonight. Thank you for watching, and good night. Oh, I need to press another button.